Hello, welcome back. We're still at PDAC and I'm with Jeff McNamara, the founder, or co-founder, I should say, of Tesoro Gold. Jeff, good to see you.
Yeah, thanks, Peter. Great to be here. I appreciate the opportunity to talk.
No, more than welcome. Why don't we just kick things off, those less familiar, brief overview of the company, and then we'll dive in.
So Tesoro Gold is an ASX-listed company, market capitalisation of approximately 30 million, with about 4 million cash in the bank. We've discovered the Zorro Gold Project in Region 3 of Chile. So that's got 1.5 million ounces. We're 15 kilometres from the Pan-American Highway and 15 kilometres from the Pacific Ocean. We released a scoping study last year, a pit optimised shell with 1.3 million ounces in it. Total capital cost is about $120 million US, NPV of sort of 250. So quite attractive project, but what's exciting us at the moment is we're about to start drilling a new area 700 metres away from the existing deposit called Drone Hill. We've had some very good channel samples come back from there, 40 metres at over a gram, and then some higher grades of 2 to 3 metres at about 6 to 7 grams. So yeah, the rig should start turning there in the next couple of days. So looking forward to that drill program and getting some of those results back.
Good. Well, I did a bit of research beforehand and I was looking through the scoping study and some of the things that you've been saying after that. I think around May, you did a few interviews, and one of the interesting things that I found with the project was obviously the AISC was very low, and the NPV increase. I think you referenced, or one of your colleagues referenced a figure of for every $50 increase from the gold price that you used, there was around, was it another 50 million NPV or 20 million NPV?
Yeah, it's about 15 to 20 million in NPV increase. So yeah, that was done at 1750 gold price. So obviously gold price has gone up since then. Touched all-time highs on Friday. So yeah, look, we think that's the project as it is, and that scoping study is really a phase one starter pit, is a simple way to summarise that. Deposits open in all directions and at depth. And as I mentioned, this drilling at Drone Hill, if we make a discovery there, then obviously that'll materially change the project economics, possibly have two similar sized deposits. And we have done some drilling in the valley between those two areas, between Drone Hill and Tamera, and that is mineralised as well. So it could be a possibility that these two join up if we had success with the discovery.
Okay, so you've sort of you haven't drawn a line in the sand where you are at the moment. There's a lot more to be done.
Correct.
It sounds as though this new target is the priority right now. That's the sort of the vibe I'm getting, but Can you just talk to me a little bit about the work program that you've got planned for that? And I assume that's funded through the 4 million that you've got in the bank.
Yeah, that's correct. So it's really a two-pronged approach. One is continue to progress Tamera, grow that deposit. But yeah, the initial focus will be this drilling at Drone Hill. So we'll be looking at, sort of half a dozen holes there. The mineralisation does start at surface from the rock chip sampling has showed us. Same structures, same geological footprint as Tamera. And post that drilling, we'll also look at some extensions to the north and south of Tamera and possibly test some of the northern targets that remain undrilled, but again, where we've identified anomalous gold at surface.
Okay, and so the idea then, obviously this is only 700 kilometres away, obviously...
700 metres.
Oh, sorry, 700 metres away. Sorry, that would have been a bit rough if it was 700 kilometres away, yeah. So... with the current understanding and interpretation of the existing ore body that you have, does it indicate that it does travel or it is leaning towards travelling towards that new target?
Well, we've drilled several holes in the valley. One of those holes, the best hole, came back with about 11 metres at a gram and 1.5 metre at 7 grams, and that's pretty close to the centre of the valley. So yeah, we've certainly, the operational team on the ground have been able to trace those structures running from Tamera into Drone Hill, and it's the same intrusive. So we're reasonably confident that there's going to be good mineralisation there. It'll just come down to the scale of that, and through this work program we should get a good indication of that. And obviously, if we're successful, we'll continue to drill there.
And what's the large-scale picture here? Because obviously, where you already got your existing mineralisation, in the current ore body. Obviously, you could do a load of step out and put some more meters into that, and that all adds into the existing wireframe, etc. Obviously, you seem pretty confident that this is a really good opportunity to go and spend some money and return some value. But you said there earlier that you were looking at hopefully doubling the resource. Is that?
Yeah, so we've got an exploration on the updated resource we released last year. We've got an exploration target of 3 million ounces on the Tenera deposit. So as I mentioned, drilling shows that it's open north, south, east, west, and at depth. We'll continue to certainly go north and south and expand that mineralised zone, and look to do a updated resource hopefully later this year. And if we have success at Drone Hill, that could materially change, the opportunity for the business. Possibly 2 deposits, possibly 1 large deposit if the drilling shows that it does connect to Tenera.
Okay. What else is going on in the background at the moment of the company? Are you already? I guess you really need this more data to be able to progress studies, but is there anything you can be doing on permitting or anything along those lines?
We are in discussions around accessing water, and also with the Chilean Utility Authority to access grid power. And as you mentioned, we're continuing our permitting as well. And we do continue to, I suppose, we did a series of holes last year. We're working on bringing those holes into the resource. Really at this point the focus is on that drilling, and we're pretty excited about the potential there. Okay.
And Met, from what I understood from the scoping, was pretty phenomenal, right? I mean
it's quite unique. So the deposit is the first of its kind in Chile, an intrusive related gold system, and typically those systems have multiple multi-million ounce deposits in them. Tintina province is the best example. The interesting thing is there's quite a bit of coarse gold, gravity gold. We've done quite a bit of MET test work. We'll continue to do some more, but at 150 micron grind, we get 45% of the gold out in gravity. At a 200 micron grind, you get 40% of the gold out in gravity. So it is a harder rock, but it liberates very well. And then total recovery via a conventional CIP plant is 94.5%. So it's very attractive from the metallurgical perspective.
Okay, and what are energy costs like in Chile at the moment? If you're going to be doing a lot of grinding, how have you got this ASIC all the way down to around $1,000? Is sort of what?
Look, I think there's a few things that are in our favour. One is we're so close. We're 15 kilometres from the Pan American Highway, 15 kilometres from the Pacific Ocean. We're in an arid environment. There's no inhabitants. There's very little vegetation. The mineralised zone is actually a ridge outcropping. A lot of those factors contribute to it. The fact we do have a desalination plant within 20 kilometres, a power line, grid power within 20 kilometres. All those factors, bring it in to make it a pretty attractive, initial starter pit, basically.
Okay. And in terms of the actual power cost in Chile, obviously the finer you have to grind rock, usually more expensive it becomes.
It's it is hard. It is a high work index. It's about 20. But if you compare that 150 micron grind size, in Western Australia, for example, most of the gold projects are typically is specifically grinding down to below 100 micron, sort of 70 or 80 micron. So while it's hard, don't have to grind it down that far. So 150 microns actually pretty coarse for a gold project. And we haven't quite finalised what that cost of power will be, because that's part of the negotiation with the utility to tap into that power grid.
Okay, good. Can you just talk me through a little bit around the next 6 months or so? Because obviously I know a lot of this is real related, but I guess people are itching to see this and see the results. So when can we actually start expecting to see some news flow off the back of this?
So we'll have continued news flow, more channel and rock chip sampling, both at Drone Hill and to the north. With the drilling starting in the next few days, we'd expect first results from that drilling within the next 4 to 6 weeks. Assay turnaround's pretty good in Chile. So yeah, and obviously as we continue to permit and de-risk the project, there'll be possibly some announcements around that as well.
Okay, and just obviously I've spoken to a few companies looking at doing exploration in Chile at the moment. I wouldn't mind. It's always good to get a bit of feedback on someone who actually walks the ground and the political situation in Chile. How are you finding it at the moment? How are your shareholders finding it? Is there, I guess, how are you looking at it now compared to when you did last year?
Yeah, so look, there was quite a bit of rhetoric over the last 2 years by the incumbent president, around mining and potentially nationalisation of mining, specifically in the copper and lithium space. There's been nothing mentioned, in the gold space, and there's been no impact on us. What we have seen is that, he does not control the Senate. So a lot of this rhetoric, a lot of these policies he's put forward and the Constitution, he was unable to, bring those to bear.
Yep.
And look, the people of Chile are smart, well-educated, and they realise that, a lot of their wealth and being the most advanced South American country has come on the back of predominantly copper. So, we haven't seen any direct impact. That, I think that sovereign risk has diminished, mainly because people now understand that, these policies, they won't become law and they won't be approved.
Okay. I think one of the other things as well was you obviously, when you've spoken about this in the past, but you didn't use post-tax numbers before because there was some questions around how the capex would be getting tax refunds or tax rate. Is there any sort of progress there in terms of how that potentially could look? I know you've got to update a study and release it publicly, but
well, I suppose for example, part of the reason around that was that you do get rebates and you will get tax concessions, and I think probably the best way to give that as an example is in the last 12 odd months, we've received just under $2 million back from the government on the VAT rebate. So look, the tax typically for the corporates in Chile is around that 25-26%. But the interesting factor is, as you take a project towards production, like those VAT rebates, there will potentially be other concessions and ideally possibly some tax holidays to bring that project into production. It's a very mining-heavy area where we are. You've got Capstone operating there, you've got Goldfields, you've got the local iron ore producer Cap. So mining drives most of the commerce in that region we're in, and the mines department's certainly very supportive of the project and moving it forward. Roughly corporate tax 25-26%, but as I mentioned, that VAT rebate I think talks to the opportunities that are potentially there when we go into construction.
Okay, and I just another topic I really wanted to just touch base on was in terms of the scalability of this mine. Obviously, we spoke earlier just a moment ago about obviously for every $50 additional in the gold price, you use $1,750, you get another 20 million NPV. But at what point does this become scalable enough for you to say, right, let's really pull the trigger and really start thinking about developing this mine now? Is there a magic number in mind that you want to get to?
Oh yeah, look, I think ideally it's we're just under there at the moment. It's 100,000 ounces per annum over 10 years. We're certainly on the pathway to that, and we're confident we're going to be able to achieve that. If something like Drone Hill comes in, then I think you're realistically looking at that 150 to 200,000 ounces per annum over a decade. There's mineralisation, continuous mineralisation over 20 kilometres. The strike length of our 570 odd square kilometres is 50 kilometres. And throughout all those areas we've been to, in the majority of them, there's anomalous gold outcropping at surface. So we think it's a very big system. This is one deposit of, we hope, many. But I think in an ideal world, if we had 150, 200,000 ounces per annum, over a 10-year period, that'd be ideal. We're on the cusp of the 100,000, so we think that's achievable.
It's funny because I've talking to a few people recently, and it used to be obviously 100,000 ounces was that magic number. It seems like it has actually increased a little bit to 50. That's an contemporary.
Yeah, I think the 120, 150 is sort of the base threshold, but Yeah, certainly, from our perspective, the environment we're operating in, that jurisdiction, the infrastructure we've got, we see that opportunity to, be a slightly, larger scale producer. Obviously, Goldfields is, has invested into the, with through 2 placements, they sit at about 18%. A group like that's obviously looking for a deposit of, it's in my mind 3 to 5 million ounces or greater. And we've always held the view that the Tenera and the surrounding areas has that potential. So hopefully we can bring some of that to fruition.
Final question on Goldfields. What's their current thinking around the deposit? As in, they're obviously at 18% already. That's quite a meaningful chunk of the company. I'd assume they probably are. Are they looking at this as a JV, or are they looking at this as an acquisition?
Oh, look, I think they're looking at it as an acquisition. I think what they're looking for is some indication of another deposit that gets them, to that scale, close to that sort of 200,000 ounces or more per annum over 10 years. If you look at their Solares Norte project in the Andes that they're commissioning, that produces about 330,000 ounces per annum over 10 years. So, that's what, they're looking for. We're confident that exists in our land package. It's a matter of defining that, or certainly identifying it, and we're hoping that Drone Hill might be a significant piece in that puzzle.
I hope you're right. Jeff, thank you for your time.
Thank you.